People.
All right. So George is just going to keep admitting people. We are going to get started. I want to welcome you onto our Monday morning huddle. I'm Adrian Ruiz. This is George Ruiz. And we are happy to have one of our dear friends on with us and also our upline, Mark Ewell. And he is just absolutely just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to creating culture and community in business, but also to helping us dream much bigger and really see a great vision in a picture. He is a definite multimillionaire, helped develop several millionaires in this industry. He really knows what it takes to build big business in this industry as well. Over 36 years experience, I believe. He and George have known each other for several years. I've gotten to know him about the last 8 years. And so it's just been a phenomenal ride. He and his wife, Jill, have, I think it's six beautiful children with Winter. Is it
Seven. Seven.
seven? Seven with Winter, right?
Seven with Winter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they have an incredible story. And so we're happy to have Mark on this Monday morning huddle with us. This is a business call, right? This is a call about business, how to build big business in this industry, how to build a big business here in 3 International. And so Mark is going to share with us a little bit more about himself, and we're just going to chit chat back and forth. And I know you guys should pull out a pen and a piece of paper because there's things that Mark say that you want to implement. Okay. There's going to be things that he shares that you're going to go, oh, I could do that. Right. And that's going to help you, especially this week, to be able to go out with a bigger mindset, a bigger vision. And so he's going to share with us more the bigger picture of three and the bigger vision of three. But first and foremost, Mark, how are you doing all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah? How's it going today?
I can't complain. It's October, 14th, and it's 80 degrees outside. I'm at my lake house, and it's beautiful. I can't say how excited I am to have a nice weather October. Normally, we'd had a few snow flurries, so it's beautiful here. I'm excited to be with you this morning and share. And so, thank you for inviting me.
Hmm. Is that your real background? That's your lake house?
Yeah,
Looks like.
that's my real background. Yes.
Oh, you guys, guess what? If in this business you can get a real background. That's so great. If you can't dream bigger with that right there, look at that beautiful view. Well, so you and Jill are doing great. 7 kids with Winter. You've been in
Yeah.
this business for 36 years, right, Mark?
Yeah, this is 36 years. Yes.
Wow. And you
I don't know.
started.
I don't know what it's like to have a real job. My first and only real job was a bellboy at the Marriott Hotel while I was in school at the University of Utah. That's the first and only job I've ever had where I had to punch in a time clock, and can't say that was an enjoyable feeling. And that's why this business became so appealing to me when I learned about it for the first time. Is I learned I didn't have to punch a time clock anymore, and I thought that'd be a pretty good thing.
Yeah, it's turned out to be a pretty good thing for you. I know
Yeah.
some people, they look at that and they go, wow, you were in your 20s when you said yes to this. Some of us, we're all different ages when we say yes to this business. But I do want to say that I feel like this business, Mark, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it doesn't discriminate. It just says, hey, you've got an equal opportunity. Is that what you saw when you first said yes?
Yeah. I have to say I wasn't looking for it. I went on a church mission for my church, came home, immediately started the uh, the process of enrolling in school. I found a job as a bellboy at the Marriott Hotel. I always say my claim to fame there was I got to take Michael Jordan's luggage to his room, and he handed me $100 tip, and that $100 helped my entry into my very first network company. Was it 36 years ago? One of his $100 bills helped me get started. So thank you, Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow.
And I always think, man, all he did is took his luggage up to his room, and I thought, how would it be to just be able to tip somebody $100? And it was kind of an eye opening when this whole thing unfolded. It was just a series of events. It wasn't a week after I got a tip from Michael Jordan that somebody exposed me to this concept of network marketing, and I was not interested. I'll be honest, zero interest whatsoever. I started school. And I said no twice. This is where my story starts. I use the term polite persistence. Don't give up on people because they don't even know what their dreams are, really. They're living their lives in quiet desperation, so many of us. And and I said no twice, and I'm grateful for that gentleman. That he just simply said, Mark, it just doesn't make sense to say no to something you have no information about. Do me a favor, just look at the business and then you can tell me no. But make sure that when you look at it, that it's based on, good information, so that you can, um, you know, make the right decision for you and your family, because this is something I'm excited about. It's important, and I think you'd be great at it. And he just said the right thing. So I always say, polite persistence, be excited. He was very excited. That was a little bit contagious. And finally, I agreed to go to my very first meeting in Salt Lake City, and that was 36 years ago. I went to that meeting and I learned something about leverage, and that
Yeah.
changed everything for me. When I learned about leverage and freedom, for me, I was chasing freedom. I was never chasing the dollars. I was chasing freedom. I played sports at a very high level. We were if any of you guys have ever watched, in fact, there was a Netflix show about the Little League World Series just recently. I think it was Believe or something. I can't remember. I watched it. It kind of brought back memories. We were just 2 or 3 games away from the Little League World Series, and never had a parent that could attend any of those events. As we traveled around the country, my parents could never attend any of those events because my dad had a job as a foreman for a plumbing company, and he couldn't get off work. My mom was raising 10 kids, and so the idea of traveling with to go to these kind of events was just not in the cards. And so one of my saddest memories to this day, that was another catalyst for me joining the business, and any of you that have followed me for years know that, is after I pitched a perfect game. I had 4 home runs in this all-star game. We were 2 games and now from going to the Little League World Series. I had pitched all my innings, but at the end of the game, we won. There was a lot of celebration. I was, but at that moment, I realized, as you looked around, mom wasn't there, dad wasn't there, none of the siblings were there, and it was one of those watershed moments in my history that I thought, this isn't fair. And so I remember going back to the bleachers, 12 years old, tears coming down my eyes, saying, this isn't fair. Dad should have been there. Dad should have been there. I wasn't mad at him because I understood, but I still thought it was not fair.
Mm.
Fast forward, I made myself a promise that day when I grew up that I would find a profession that I could always be there for my kids. That was the promise I made to my 12-year-old self. And so fast forward, I'm now 21. I'm hearing this business with freedom, control your life, control your time. And that was the pivotal moment where I said, okay, I need to take a serious look at this. And
Mhm.
so it was after my first meeting, I learned about freedom, I learned about leverage, and I thought, how hard could this be? I saw the gentleman in front of the room. He was making like 60, 70,000 a month after a year. And I thought, my heavens, if he can do it. I just have a philosophy. If one person can do it, so can another. It can always be improved upon and done better. That's just my philosophy. So
Yeah.
I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to even do it better than him. That was just my pride, my ego. I don't know what it was. It was just, I believed it could be done better. And he was sharp. But so I said yes after saying no twice. But the no was, the 2 no's were ignorant no's. So understand, there's an ignorant no, there's an informed no. My first
Mm.
2 no's were ignorant no's because I didn't even take a look. Polite persistence got me to the next step, to just open my mind and take a look. And then I got excited, and then I said yes. It took me about 90 days to get my first yes. So it was hard. I had no support in my family. So Bill, good for you. I never, to this day, 36 years, I've made what? I don't know how many millions, a lot. And I've still never had a sibling say yes to me in this business. So congratulations, Bill. You already had a yes from a sibling. I can't even get them on product. You know, uh, so anyway, but I didn't have any support from the family. My dad said that I was a disappointment. He couldn't believe I'd do a business like this. And at the end of the day, when my dad had his massive heart attack and there was no money coming in, it was one of his youngest sons that saved the day, because I was, at the time he had a heart attack, I was making 30,000 a month, and I could take care of mom and take care of their needs. And that was the moment that was pivotal, that he changed and said, wow, maybe there's something to this business. And before he passed away, he lived another 4 years, but before he passed away, he finally actually did join my business, mainly just for the product. But he changed his thought process. That was, there's a lot of people, they have this stinking thinking, and it's a process to get them over that. So anyway, that's kind of my story. I've been doing it for 36 years. It's been the best decision I've ever made. I love this industry. I'm passionate. You can see my excitement. Your signal has got to be strong. I always say, whoever signals stronger will usually make that sell. So your signal's got to be strong. So anyway, that's a little bit about my story.
Mark, I literally put in already like 4 or 5 golden nuggets for people in the chat. You are so good, like you're so good. It's just the experience, it's the knowledge, it's the knowing when not to quit. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people they get into a business like this, and if they don't see results in the first, I don't know, 24 or 48 hours, 2 weeks, all of a sudden it's like they're like, oh, well, that didn't work. And that's not realistic thinking. I mean, we got to remember, like, you got into this for business purposes. If you got into this where you were excited to share it with other people, and you wouldn't say no to making extra money. Some people think it's going to happen overnight. You're saying I wasn't an overnight success, but it took time and persistence, right? Is that what you're saying? Like for
Well,
to have a big
90
awakening?
days, 90 days. And I did what most people did is I thought I could do it by myself. I thought I could run by myself. And that's the first rule is do not run by yourself. What you've got here as a team is magical. Um, but I did what most people did because I was limited on time. I was in school full time from 7:30 in the morning to 2:30, a swing shift in the Marriott from 3:30 to midnight. So I had no time to do this business. That was my first problem that presented itself was I had no time. So I had to basically work in the nicks and crannies of every minute of my day and at night. And that was just difficult to do. But the funny thing is, my first yes was you'll laugh at this story, but it was 90 days. But how I got my yes is that my family was making fun of me about my business choice of doing network marketing. And so there was this rumor mill happening with the siblings. And in fact, it's really funny is I was the one voted to be most likely to end up in the welfare line out of all my siblings, just because I thought differently. Just it's that entrepreneurial spirit, that dreaming spirit. It's like, all these guys are just your 100,000 a year corporate jobs, and that's all they know. And it's funny because I was honestly voted to be the one that was going to end up in the welfare line, and nothing has been further from the truth. I've made probably close to 50 million while they make their 100,000 a year, and so anyway. But the funny thing is, my first yes, it was 90 days into it, and it was my sister that was. I came to visit my mother. I tried to avoid my dad because my mom was never really negative about it. She was always trying to hold everybody at bay. So God bless my mom. She was always like, let him go chase his dreams. And so my mom was supportive, but nobody else was. And I went to my sister. My sister, she's the one that is fighting cancer right now and is doing wonderful on our products. That's another story. I think I told you that she kind of had a death sentence. We got her on these products 8 months ago, and I'm not saying our products cured anything. What I'm saying is your body is a wonderful machine, and her last test, it was remission. And so anyway, that's another story. But anyway, she had a friend over that and someone had made a snide remark about this new business venture that I was in. And then her friend said, my dad's done something like that and he just got laid off. You ought to call my dad. And so I got that number. Now, mind you, I'm 21. Her dad's probably 40. And you talk about a chicken list. He just got laid off. And so I'm going to call him and saying, hey, do you want to invest some money in a business? And that's not an easy decision. But nevertheless, that phone weighed 3,000 pounds. I'm not lying. This is my early years. The phone does get heavy when you're starting in this business, and you have to overcome. You got to find a mental fortitude to overcome and lift that phone. It took me a day. I don't know how many times I did this, but I mean, honestly, it was many times before I finally got the call, and I just said, "Hey, his name was Steve. You don't know me directly, but I got your name from your daughter who said that you might be looking for something." That you might be between jobs, and I tried to choose my words carefully. And he said, yeah, I'm looking at something. I'm willing to look. So I met with him, but I was smart enough to take him to the gentleman that did the presentation in that room. We had a great first meeting. He got excited, and then he said yes. And then all of a sudden, it got more complicated because his wife, he had failed at something like this a few different times, and so his wife was not very supportive. And then she went out and said it. She says, if you do this, I'm divorcing you. Now, you imagine how complicated that is now for me. He's like, well, my wife's going to divorce me if I do this. So I'm like, I didn't want to get caught in a divorce situation. I'm like, no, you shouldn't do this. And so I'm now actually trying to talk my first yes into not doing it to save his marriage because I thought that was the right thing to do. So that's how complicated my first yes was. I'm like, Steve, I don't think you should do this. It's not worth, your marriage. He goes, well, Mark, I have a philosophy, and that is in life, you're going to fail over and over and over again. and you never know when your next win is going to be. And I'm not going to let my wife steal my dreams. If she is that way, then I don't want to be married to her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting complicated. This is really getting complicated. I'm feeling guilty. I'm like, why did I ever make this first call? I'm gonna be the result of a divorce. And needless to say, he was just bent on, I'm doing this and I'm gonna win. And sure enough, they got a divorce, and I just felt guilty. And that was my first yes. But then guess what? He became my first millionaire. Well, I'm never going to take credit for any millionaire that has ever, been in his business, because at the end of the day, I might be a voice of helping somebody, empowering somebody, and what have you. But at the end of the day, if someone goes on and makes $1 million in this industry, and there's a lot of people that do, it's because they went out and did the work. And he did the work, and he went out and made $1 million in that first company. And he was one of my first big leaders. And then sure enough, as soon as that happened, his wife wanted back in. And he's like, nope, you had your chance. And so then he ended up remarrying somebody in the network. But it was a complicated first yes. But what happened with that first yes is I realized if I can get told yes once, I can do it twice. And then I got my second one, and then I got a third. And then I realized, oh my gosh, just go out, share the story, be excited, get your yes, and help them get their two. I always talk about the power of two. You've got to get your two, and you want to do it as fast as you can. It's a 2x2 formula. So that's what I was taught. And so then we just started this whole campaign of everybody getting their two, do it in your first week if you can. And we just started moving the ball forward. And all of a sudden, my first year in network marketing, I think I probably had about 30 yeses. And by the time I was 22 years old, I was now making 15,000 a month in my new networking company at the age of 22. So when everyone says it doesn't work, nonsense. If a 21-year-old kid has a full-time job from 3:30 to midnight, school 7:30 to 2:30, can in the nicks and crannies of his time, had no time, no experience, no credibility, go out in his first year, make 15,000 a month, and what is the rest of your guys' excuse? That's my story. If my story is evidence that anybody, no matter what your background, you can do this. That's my story.
Wow.
Bellboy to millionaire. I mean, you guys have heard that. Bellboy to millionaire. That's really my story.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's going, I love it. I love it. I love it. Again, more and more just like really great tips, inspiration. George and I are big believers in the power of two. We actually put it back in our slide deck. You guys have seen it on the new ourlegacymakers.com site. We put the power of two slide back into the team presentation slide deck. It's so key and so important that you understand that, yes, what he just shared with you, that is the building blocks of how you build a big business. Can you get your two? And I mean, it's just like, I love how Mark even breaks it down by that. If I can get one, I can get one more. So I love that because it's the beautiful part about this business. The average person will bring what they say 2.5 people. I don't know where the half a person comes from, but well,
I've never
kind
figured
of
out
know.
that either. I've never
I
figured
don't
out that
know.
either. But I don't believe that. I really
Anyway,
don't believe that. I think it's nonsensical, because I think that anybody, I mean, even when I get told no, no is just not right now. I mean, I have this come back. I always say you have to understand there's an informed no and there's an ignorant no. An ignorant no is they didn't even take a look at it. To me, and I always say, hey, look, I get that you don't understand this, what have you. And then it's a burst of excitement. It's sharing your personal conviction, your signal that it's real. And I always say, at least, these are the one thing we have the advantage on, folks. We have the best products in the world. I hope you guys get that by now. There are no better quality products on planet Earth than what we offer at 3. They are the best of the best of the best. And we have all these studies, the third-party validation, the epigenetics, the list goes on and on. All of them in the PDR. We have so much credibility. So I always say, at a minimum, do me a favor and support me in my business. Just try the product for 60, 90 days. Can you do that for me? That's always my fallback. And If always ask for a referral, because the first rule in network marketing, this is a golden nugget. Write it down, live by it. And that is, if you run out of people to talk to, you're out of business. Don't run out of people to talk to. And so you have to be always looking for the next person to talk to. So when someone says no, I'll say, hey, can you do me a couple favors? One, can you try my product for 30, 60, 90 days? Support me in my business and just see how you feel, because I know you're going to love these products. You're going to feel the best you've ever felt. I believe that. And the skincare, oh my gosh, that is just an unbelievable product that we have right now that is, I mean, with my wife in 4 days, it was such an amazing experience in 4 days. My wife tries the product day one at the convention. 4 days later, we're at a dinner, and I'm just looking at her, how beautiful my wife is, and I noticed that her crow's feet are gone, and that her face was looking just, it was like she'd gotten 5, 10 years younger in 4 days. And I'm like, honey, I said, your face looks different than 4 or 5 days ago. And I said, let me take a picture and show you. So I snapped a picture at dinner, and we had one together of us at the convention 4 days earlier. And I said, look at these two. And she's like, oh my gosh. I mean, it worked better than I mean, my wife has done Botox like so many, spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And what this did in 4 days blew away anything Botox has done for the last 10 years. I mean,
Wow.
and my wife has never really said, I'm always envious, like George, when wife and husband, because that's never been my story. My wife has always been, she's my number one fan. She supports me by raising the kids and allowing me to travel and do what I need to do. And she's got the harder job, trust me. I mean, running a household is much harder. But anyway, but then you guys are doing it all. I mean, like you, Adrian, you're doing it all. I see your posts, mom, soccer, kids events, you're always somewhere, but you are a super mom, and God bless you for everything you do, and all the moms out there. But my wife, she's never really been one to give referrals, but this skincare is the first time I've been getting referrals from my wife, because they're seeing a difference, and she is now sharing that excitement with friends. And that to me is magical. I'm just thinking this product is demonstrable more than any product maybe that I've ever marketed in 36 years. So there's magic on the products, but don't be afraid to ask for the referral, and get them to try the product. And then I always say, hey, look, and by the way, you probably know somebody that could use a second stream of income, a little side hustle without disturbing their primary source of income, or somebody that's a health nut that just loves to know about the latest and greatest in scientific studies and nutrition. Can you feed me a referral or two? And I do that on every person that says no. And I hope you're doing the same thing, because if you run out of people to talk to, you're out of business. You don't want to be out of business.
I love how you said that. Can you feed me a referral or two? What a creative yet like direct way to ask. I think it's hard for people to ask for referrals sometimes in this business because they've just heard a no or a no or a no for now, right? And then they feel like, oh, can I go in and say, hey, I'm open to any referrals? You know what I mean? Like they're trying to find a creative way to say that. I like that. Can you feed me
But
a
Adrian, that's part of the belief. That's part of what we're talking about right now is
referral?
belief. When your belief is so strong and you know what you have, it's easier to do that. Because I know that if they get on my product for 60, 90 days, I know that at least I probably have a customer. I always say upgrade your vitamins. I always say upgrade your vitamins, get yourself the world's best vitamins. And I figure I at least have a customer. We need customers, because the happy 10, we need customers. So my heavens, why not? And even if they don't do the business, but then what happens is you start to build. Guess what? There's some of those customers, as they start to get more familiar with our culture and the company, they're like, you know what? I think I'll swing over here and maybe play over here. And the thing I love is that we have a business that at a minimum, you can get your product for free. A customer can come in and then make a few referrals and get the product for free. You can't do that at Dillard's. You can't do that at Nordstrom's. My wife buys the most expensive skincare at Lancome and spends hundreds of dollars. And no matter how great she looks with the product, she's not going to get, even if she refers that product, she's not going to get a commission from Nordstrom's or Dillard's saying, hey, thank you for the referral. That's the magic of what we do here, is you can get your product for free. That, to me, that is beautiful about what our industry represents, is at a minimum, get your product for free. And then there are always people that are chasing their dreams. And that's the ones that we resonate with, is the ones that have a dream that are saying, look, I want more. I need more. I need a change, and I want to go out and do something significant, and I want to go out and bless it. So my tagline is, let's have some fun. If you're working with me, we're going to have some fun. We're going to go out and make a difference in people's lives. We're going to bless some lives, and then we're going to go and make some money. And that's what we do. So those are the three things.
You're just smooth like butter, Mark. You guys,
I don't know about that.
I'm putting all of these phrases in here that he's saying. I'm literally because I mean, that's so true. You could say that to somebody. Of course, get your product for free. And then there's always those who chase their dreams. What a beautiful way to say, are you interested in making more money with me? You know what I mean? Would you be interested in more? I mean, he is smooth like butter, and that's just experience. I love it, Mark. And I know you're not trying to be smooth. You're just being yourself. You're just going out there and you're just sharing with
Well,
enthusiasm.
it's just time. But
Yeah.
that's my theme. My theme is getting better every day. I wasn't like, I mean, this is second nature to me now because it's all I know at 36 years. But for somebody who's new, that might seem like smooth like butter, but it's just time, it's repetition, it's just being excited about what you're doing. But we have a unique opportunity. We're going to build the next billion-dollar company. I spoke with Daniel in great depth here just a couple of weeks ago, and his vision of what we're going to do is enormous. And those of you that know Daniel know that this guy, nobody will outwork him. Nobody, his vision of what we're going to build, a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. And I'll tell you what, from a business perspective and understanding, this guy is so smart. I mean, it's no secret out there that he's Mensa. Mensa is, a very elite club of people whose IQ is so high. I know some of the people he's consulted with. He's consulted for billionaires. This guy knows his stuff. We're going to build $1 billion company. And for those of us that take ownership, I always say we're writing a book right now. We're writing the book of three. What chapter that is going to be significant are you going to be part of that book? And you have to decide. Are you going to go out and you're going to have a little piece of the chapter of that book? And I hope so. But that's going to be you taking ownership, stepping up, getting better. So my theme is getting better every day. You've got to get better every day. It takes years. The difference between, you've heard the book, you put in your 10,000 hours. I'm at probably 50,000 hours right now. But, for some of you that are new, let's put in your first 1,000 hours, first 2,000 hours. And I promise you, the one thing that I will promise you is you stick with the community. What Adrian and George put together with their systems, and other leaders that are on here. You have so much support and material to help you grow and get better in your business. As long as you're getting better every day and you're growing, that's what's significant. And you will not be the same person today as you will be in 12 months from now if you stay plugged into what these guys are doing and what all of us leaders are doing, and you show up. The one thing about me, I will say, that helped me is I had this attitude. Some will say it was arrogance, but it was an attitude that I wanted to be really good. I wanted to be the best. So I went out in Salt Lake City, and there were some really big networkers in Salt Lake City. One of my mentors, just recently, I don't even want to talk about it, but he passed away. But he was one that I went to all of his events. He wasn't even part of my company, but somebody had said this guy is so good, and so I used to go to his meetings and just take notes and learn, even though he wasn't a part of my company. I didn't want to join his company because I thought it was a weak company, but he was one of the top guys. But nevertheless, he was polished. He was amazing, and I learned and I took notes, and I never missed a convention. I never missed any event that I could be. I always showed up. Showing up is the number one way to grow and learn and get better in this business.
I got Sorry, Mark. Yeah, showing up is the most important thing, right? I mean, it is the literal thing. It's the one activity you can do every day. You show up to a morning huddle. You show up to the global presentation, right? You show up to a Thursday night. You show up to, whatever is happening. It's the next event is always the best event. We always say either the event needs you or you need the event. And that's important. Now, the smart person would go, well, even if I'm going because I'm the one who needs this event, because I need to believe much bigger, much sooner, don't go without a guest.
Yeah.
Bring somebody so you can capture that belief together, right? That's always been my theory. And
That is my golden rule, by the way. Never go to an event alone. I would buy a shake. I would buy, anything I could do. I would say, I'll get you a shake, just come, because I always felt like if they just got some information, and can make an informed decision. Have a philosophy that you don't make the decision for them. Your job is to simply go out and do the best possible job that you can to give them good information so you can move them along to make them, help them make that decision that's right for them, but don't make the decision for them. That's the worst thing you could do is, prejudge somebody. Because I'll tell you what, some of the people that have been my best, I prejudged. I thought, they won't be good. But then what happened is through them, I found an amazing leader. So it's not just who you know, it's who they know. And so somebody that you may deem, well, they're not so sharp. You never know. Their Uncle Bob could be the sharpest guy you've ever met in your life. And so I just learned not to prejudge. And we're sifting. We're always sifting, trying to find the right connection. And the other thing is connection, guys. This is a business of connection, and it's relationships. And I hope that you guys, as you navigate your business, you do it the right way. I had this conversation just this other day, and then in my church on Sunday, they were talking about the importance of, as if you're a teacher in your church, that the way to connect to our youth right now is connection. They've got to be able to connect with you. And it's no different than our business. We need that connection, that trust. And as you navigate your business, never give your people a reason not to trust you. And that's something that this industry has not done very well of in the past. We need to elevate our game, and we need to do better. We need to never give our people a reason. I have lots of philosophies, and that is to never leave anybody worse off than when I show them the business. So number one, I have to have faith in the company that they're going to do the right thing always. I have faith that this company is always going to do the right thing. And then you have to conduct yourself in a way that you always do the right thing. Okay. And never let it be about money that rules the day. It's got to be about doing the right thing. How many times have you heard me say that, Adrian? Do the right thing every time. And as you do so, you'll build a big team, and you won't have skeletons in the closet. And so to me, that's very important. For all of you, I hope you heard that tip, is always do the right thing and build a loyal team that will follow you for forever. And that's just my philosophy.
Yeah. That resonates. George and I've been in this industry a long time. My friends, you will win some, you will lose some, and you will learn a lot. And here's the thing I'll tell you, at the end of the day, you want no regrets. And by that, I mean no skeletons in your closet. You want to do the right thing. If you can do the right thing every single time, you'll have a clean conscience at the end of the day, because working with people really isn't easy. It's really not, right? We're balancing. It's a juggling act, like Mark is sharing with you. But the most important part is that they feel the importance of being connected, that you have integrity, that you're able to, come back and really lock arms with people, and they feel like they can trust you, right? So at that moment, you just need to be trustworthy. So always do the right thing.
And nothing is more prevalent than, you've heard this a million times. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Love your people like you've never loved anybody. Support them. Do not babysit. There's a fine line. I don't babysit my people. Okay. Babysitters make $5 an hour, but I will love them enough to win without babysitting. And that's something you should write down.
So no more babysitting. Okay, Mark, we only have a couple more minutes, and you've given so many tidbits of information. Everybody on this call, I feel like my heart is full. I hope your heart is full for the rest of this week too. But there's a couple things I want to ask you, Mark, before we go. And that is, if somebody were to say to themselves right now, okay, I'm in my fourth quarter right now in the world of three. We've got the Vietnam trip. We've got the Cabo trip. We have, we're not even done yet. Like you said, we're writing the book of three. So we're in like the preface phase. I don't even think we're in the first chapter yet. I think
we're not even in the first chapter yet.
Yeah.
We're in the, yeah.
We're in the.
And they need to understand that. See, people think, I already missed it. Don't give me a break. Come on. We haven't even written the first chapter yet. This thing is going to be a massive multi-billion-dollar global company. So, learn, jump in, learn, get better, have fun, bless lives. And then we'll see you up on the top. We'll see you in Vietnam. I'm excited about the Vietnam trip, and hopefully everybody here should be in Vietnam, and it's not going to be, we have enough time, and it's really not that hard. It's just the course of just your everyday business. Everybody should be there. And that's when we have, that's the fun part. That's when we have fun together, guys. When you start traveling the world together, that is when it's really fun.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, you've been doing this a million years. So if they're in their fourth quarter right now, what is the activity they can do right now to get them? And you've done it, you've said it a little bit, but the activity they could do right now to maybe rank advance, the activity they could do to capture that next leader? Like what are some of the baby steps you would take right now if it was you and your business? Like what are you doing right now to set up your new year, to set up 2025? Because in my brain, I'm always 3 months ahead, 90 days ahead of what that marker needs to be. So if we're 90 days roughly to the end of the year, what does everyone on this call need to be thinking and doing on a weekly, daily basis?
Yeah, it's the daily income activities that you do every day. I mean, everybody knows that. This is nothing new. When someone's struggling in the business, the first thing that you say is, let me look at your calendar. And it's funny how people will shy away and it's like, well, I don't want you to see my calendar because they're not being honest with themselves. The first thing is just be honest with yourselves. Are you doing or are you not? And we all have to have that self-reflection. One of the best first tips I ever got early on, my mentor, his name was Jeff, and he said, Mark, do you really want to be successful? I said, yes. He says, then here's the best thing you could do for yourself. And then he says, every night at the end of the day, you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself this one question. If my team did today what I did today personally, how would my business be growing? And that's that honest conversation you have to have with yourself. And when I first started 36 years ago, when I used to have that conversation, I'd feel guilty. And some of you probably hearing this might feel guilty. It's like, geez, I didn't make any contacts this whole week, let alone, my 2 to 5 a day. I always say 2 to 5 a day, but a minimum 2 a day. I don't work Sundays, so give yourself a pass on Sunday. But if you just do 2 a day, how many people are you talking to in the course of a year? Do the math. Now, if you jump it up to 5 a day, oh my gosh, the math, but it's not those contacts. It's passing on good information. It's about effective and good follow up. It's about three-way calls, getting them on to the next. If you don't feel comfortable doing the presentation, guess what? There are so many good people doing. I'm doing a Zoom on Thursday. A presentation. I mean, Adrian, you guys have there's so many awesome presentations out there, guys. There's no reason for you to feel shy. Can you just direct them to the next presentation? But to direct them, you have to have a conviction yourself. Your signal's got to be contagious where they're like, oh, okay, I'll listen. I'll listen to what's going on Thursday or what have you. But it's just showing the plan. At the end of the day, the answer is making your contacts, your invites, showing the plan, and effective follow-up. That's what people need to be doing. We don't need to complicate this, guys. Most of us complicate stuff. It's your touches every day. It's your showing the plan effectively with somebody. If you're not comfortable, then find somebody that can help you until you are comfortable. Sooner or later, when we feel like I didn't do a presentation for the first 6 months, but I'll never forget the day that Jeff said, Mark, I'm cutting the umbilical cord, buddy. You don't need me anymore. And I was really upset. I was like, no. And he goes, I'm not doing your presentation anymore. You need to start doing the presentations. And now you need to start doing them for your people. Now you've graduated. And I didn't think I was ready. And I was nervous and I always felt like I was okay just being that signal from the third party signals like, okay, I'd redirect. That was easy for me. And so many of you guys get to do that right now. Just be excited and redirect. Sooner or later, though, when you get good enough and you start getting some income and you start having success, that umbilical cord is going to be cut. And you're going to say, okay, Bill, you're ready to do it on your own, And that's the evolution of network marketing. We're in a leadership business. We're growing leaders. That's what we do. And so our job here is to help every one of you become the best version and leader that you can be. That's our job. But it's daily activities. It's doing your 2 to 5 contacts. It's effective presentation, effective follow-up, and don't be afraid to ask to close. And so I think that's probably the best I can give you. Just keep it simple. Don't complicate it.
Yeah, no, that is the best. Absolutely. We do need to keep it simple. There's a lot of ways we could complicate this. And the biggest complication most people have is just standing in their own way, in really just going out there and being willing to have a conversation and connect. And doing that to a degree where it's trackable, right? Where you guys can print out the tracker form on the website, right? If you contact 30 people, that would be 5 days and five people per day for 5 days. 6 days. 6 days. For 6 days. Thanks, George. 6 times 5 is 30. You're going to have 15 people say yes to taking a look. Out of the 15, you'll enroll 5. The numbers don't lie, right? But we have those tracker forms up on the ourlegacymakers.com site, but you need to do your income producing activities in a way that's trackable for you. And not for George and I or Mark or anybody else. I mean, we'll ask for those if you're struggling in your business. We'll say, well, show me your calendar, like Mark said, or show me, how you're tracking your success. But just like in any other thing, you guys got to track your success so that you can see yourself waking waking up, working hard, having fun, being kind, inviting people to take a look at things, and asking if they feel like they got enough information to get started. Let's go. Let's partner together. So all of those things is what we're going to do this week. Kimberly Starr just made a goal. She says, put in the chat, she's going to do 10 a day. Go, Kimberly. Woo woo. Go, Chicago. So you guys, we're excited. We're having a lot of fun this week. Mark, beautiful, my friend. Like this was probably the best call we've had in a while, I think, for George and I as well. Like we needed to hear that too. We needed to be reminded of the basics, the simplicity, the connections, really how to be a better contributor. Always so good. Thank you, by the way, from the bottom of our hearts for all of the work that you're doing with our Salt Lake City team. I mean, that means so much to me to see what's happening over there with Diana and Wilkerson's and Irene and, you know, everybody who's over there, and yourself included. I understand you're building a big business over there too. So really, really just grateful to be partnered with you. I don't know why I'm getting so like, but you know, Mark, you changed our life. You know, a couple of years ago, George and I were sitting in a Chinese restaurant with you in Salt Lake City, Utah. And you said, do you
I
trust
remember
me?
that.
Yep. You said, do you trust me? And George and I were in such a non-trusting place at that time. We didn't think we were ever going to come out and build this business again. We know we love this business, but we were working with people, like we said, who maybe they couldn't be trusted, right? And so George and I were really struggling. But I never questioned for a second. We sat there, you gave us all the deets, all the details. Can we do this again? Can we build a big business here at 3? And I'm so glad that we said yes. So thank you so much for your integrity, for always being a stand-up guy, for being willing to come on this call. We know you're super busy, and for all the
Anytime. I'll have you. Anytime you'll have me, I'll be back on.
All right. Well, we love you and Jill. Thank you so much for being on. My friends, everybody who's on here today, we are so excited to build it big this week. Let's just focus on this week. What can we do this week? And for those of you who are celebrating in Tulum with us, what can you do before you get on that plane? All right, my friends. Okay, it's going to be a great week. We will see you later. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Adrian, George.
Thank you.
Have an amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mark. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, George and
That
Adrian.
was awesome.
Bye, Adrian.
Bye.
See ya.
Fine, thank you.
So fantastic. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
So welcome. Let's make it a great week.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, Bill. Congrats.